Tell me a little bit just about your journey here. How did this all start for you?
Yeah, well, so I first competed for Miss Texas back in July of last year. And just what made me want to get into pageantry was somebody brought it up to me one day earlier that year in 2022, and it kind of got stuck in my head like, maybe I should try that opportunity. And I was also going through a little bit of a difficult time in my life. My mom was diagnosed with ALS, which is a neurodegenerative disease in which paralyzes your full body, and it is 100% fatal. So I was being a full-time caregiver to my mother at that time. And so I just once it was stuck in my head, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to really just raise my voice in pageantry against this disease and ALS. And ever since then, once I did it, I was like, okay, this is actually, not only did I gain so much more from it, from my growth to really learning how to speak about different topics, including ALS, and just really being vulnerable about, what I was going through. I just overall really enjoyed it. And so here we are, July 20th, 23, and fortunately I was able to take the crown this time.
So take me back to that moment this weekend. What
Yeah.
was that like? Walk me through the emotions you went through up on stage.
Right. Well, honestly, I became deaf for like a couple of seconds. I was like, wait, what? Is it really me? And it wasn't until they started putting the sash on me when I was like, oh my gosh, I really did just win. And I was just so overwhelmed with so much joy, and I just felt so proud because I was looking back on how my mom would feel. And I feel like I'm making her proud. So that's just something that makes me so happy inside.
So I was reading a little bit about you before doing the interview, and your mom passed recently, is that right?
Yes, so my mom actually passed away in December, and that was actually about a month and a half before I competed for Miss Houston. So it was definitely a journey of perseverance to keep pushing forward and not letting, even though I was going through a difficult time, not letting it stop me from reaching my goals and what I wanted to do.
When I read that about you, it really sort of hit home with me. I recently lost my mother too in April, and
Mhm.
I think about the things that my mom won't be able to see, career
Right.
success and things like that. And I can't imagine what it was like for you. What did you feel when not only you went on to do Miss Houston and she had passed, she wasn't able to see you win that, and then to
Right.
reach this major milestone in your life? Um, that must have been a lot of conflicting emotion.
Yeah, I would say in the very beginning before competing for Houston, I felt like I kind of lost my vision and my sense of purpose just because I was so used to finding my purpose on being a caregiver and being there for her. And so I feel like I had to kind of do a shift change of, okay, what is my true purpose here? And even though yes, she might not physically be here with me today, I still see it as, I mean, I'm still able to speak up on this disease, speak up about these things that are still so dear to my heart. So even though I wouldn't want somebody else to go through this, I mean, that's my whole purpose is so that others that might be going through similar situations should know that they're not alone, that there's also other people that, you know, have been through those same obstacles, and there's another side on like a greener side of things, and that everything's going to be okay. And just winning this past weekend, I had aunts and my siblings that were there, and so also seeing my family there was very exciting because I also knew that they were so excited and happy for me because they know how happy my mom would have been as well. And so I remember every time I would look at them, I would kind of tear up because I just saw my mom right through them.
Yeah. How do you hope to use this major platform you have now moving forward?
Yeah, I just want to continue on raising awareness for ALS and just sharing my story so that it can inspire others and let them know that even though we may be going through a difficult time, that we have to keep pushing forward. And I think that's really important with life in general, that we have to keep focus on what our goals are, because there's always going to be a difficult time in life.
You know, I'm sure you're, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm sure your mom was looking on as you took that title this weekend, and I'm curious if you've thought about what she would say to you, having reached this accomplishment in your life.
I feel like she would just tell me how proud she is. She would just like look at me, and I actually have a video of whenever I graduated from high school and we went out to eat after. And it's a video of her just saying like, I'm just so proud of you of this accomplishment. And so I see that exact same face of her just looking at me and telling me how proud she is.
This was the second time, right, that you competed for Miss Texas USA, right?
Correct. Yes.
And so last year you came second. Was it second runner up or?
It was third runner up.
Okay, and so how did those two experiences compare? I mean, you obviously fell a little short last year, but you went right back at it. So
Right.
I'm curious how those two experiences year after year compared, and what kept you going to come back.
Right. So I would say the first time I had never done anything that had to do with pageantry. I was so naive to the pageant world. So just going in barefoot, not knowing anything, it was definitely a special experience. And I feel like I just learned so much my very first try and grew so much from it, not just, my walking skills, but just inner confidence and growth from within, the way I communicated and just the way that it helped me to keep pushing forward. I really loved what it did for me. And that's why I was like, I want to continue doing it again. And that's when I competed for Miss Houston. And therefore, after Miss Houston, I continued on to Texas. And it was just more about the growth that I felt through the pageantry.
Could you talk some about the Houston angle of all this? You were born in Houston, correct? You're a Houston girl?
No, I was actually born in Colombia.
Okay.
I'm full Colombian. And I ended up moving here to the States when I was 5 years old and been here in Houston ever since. So, I mean, you could kind of say I'm a Houstonian.
Sure. And so that must make you super proud as well. I mean, historically, I think you're the second girl from the Houston area, second pageant winner, Miss Texas USA, to be from Houston or a Houstonian. Arbany Gabriel, obviously the last one who went on to be Miss Universe. So what type of history do you think you made in that sense? That must feel special that Houston claims you as its own.
Oh, I love it. I mean, Houston's basically my home. I've been living here since I was 5. So I feel like I'm more of a Houstonian than anything else. So to be able to represent Houston to the best of my ability, it's truly an honor.
So what comes next in this journey for you?
So I would say the next step is competing at Miss USA, and they haven't set an actual date for it, but we're thinking it's going to be in the next maybe 60 days or so, between September, October. So just prepping for that, being focused and just representing Texas to the best of my ability at nationals, and just making everyone proud.
Could you talk a little bit, because I didn't ask you off the top, sort of a little bit about your background? You mentioned that you were born in Colombia. I'm assuming that's a pretty big part of your life as well, that Colombian heritage. My mom was Colombian as well, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I can relate.
So you're half Colombian.
Yes, half Colombian. Yeah, my mom's from Colombia, my dad's from Spain, and I was born here. But tell me a little bit about your background and how that influences, the woman you are today.
I feel like it influences me 100%, just because, I grew up speaking Spanish at home, and I feel like even now I might have an accent come out, my Spanish accent. And it's just, I feel like Colombian women are so strong and fierce, and they're just so courageous. And I feel like I have learned those same qualities from my mom, that just to continue pushing forward no matter what.
Was there ever a moment, I don't know if it was this past weekend at the pageant or leading up to it, maybe after Miss Houston or after your mom's death, were you second guessed yourself, or you questioned whether you could keep going, or you had a little bit of that self-doubt that creeped in that you had to overcome?
Honestly, this weekend, I felt so at peace with everything. I was just happy and excited to be there. I wanted to represent myself the best I could possibly be, and I just wanted to have fun. So I think that really just shined on stage, and that sense of peace just really showed everyone that like I wasn't afraid.
Yeah. And your story, and correct me if I'm wrong, is slightly it's different than maybe other pageant winners that I've spoken with. So as a little girl, this was not, correct me if I'm wrong, was this something you dreamed of or you thought of, or no?
No, if you would have asked me last year around January that I would be Miss Texas or competing in pageants, I would have thought you were crazy. This is no, I have never done anything that has to do with pageantry. I actually used to be a wrestler in high school, so two
Yeah.
completely opposite things. So, but it's been fun, and I feel like life is all about taking risk, and that's how we grow. And I feel like I have grown so much from every single opportunity I've ever taken in life. So I love doing different things.
Two more quick questions for you. Could you walk me through what the actual competition entails that you went through this weekend? Is it just one day or was it a couple days? And what did that entail?
Yeah, so it was actually 3 days. The first day we did an interview where we had the 5 judges. We had to do an interview with the 5 panel judge. And then the next day we did prelims to where it was about, I want to say 95 girls that competed, where all 95 girls went on prelim and showed their bathing suit walk and also their evening gown. And then final show was they announced the top 15 and then went down to the top 5. And we did the same thing where we did our walk in swimsuit again, and then we did our evening gown, and then the top 5 answered the 5 final questions.
Was there a question that stuck with you, or that it was tougher for you to answer? That, did they all answer the same question?
There were all different questions. My question had to do with social media, and I thought it went pretty well, just about if it's okay that should social media be censored. And honestly, I believe that social media is a platform where we should have free speech, and everyone's unique and has different unique qualities that make them special, and so I think that we should be allowed to express ourselves the way that we want.
And my last question for you, what would be your message to young girls watching, anyone who watches this story and learns about you and what you've been able to accomplish? What do you hope your journey and how far you've gotten this far? Hopefully it's just the beginning of another step you'll take in a few months. What message do you hope that sends?
I would say just don't be afraid to take risk. Life is all about taking risk, and that's how we end up learning our special values and what we're passionate about. So just continue to take risks, because that's the only way that we're going to grow from it and become courageous, and just to continue to push for your goals, because I mean, if we're not pushing for ourselves, nobody else will. So just to
All right.
continue pushing forward.
How badly do you want this next crown?
Oh, I'm coming for it. I am coming for it. Yeah.